Hi everyone, my name is Marian Bichuk Kamoy and I'm back again with another video on fear. So today we're going to talk about the fear of failure. Now, before I delve into the fear of failure, I want us to talk a little bit about new beginnings. Now, an example of new beginnings would be beginning a new venture. Yeah, for example, opening a business or starting an NGO. Yeah, another new beginning would be starting off life in a new town, a new city, or a new country. Another new beginning would be beginning a new relationship, could be romantic or just a friendship. So these are examples of new beginnings. Now, new beginnings are scary because of two particular reasons. One, the uncertainties that come with new beginnings, and two, the fear of failure. Now, guys, more often than not, we are scared and afraid of starting new things because of the fear of failure. And today I want us to address it and see what causes it, what are some of the effects of the fear of failure, and how can we overcome it. Yeah? So some of the things that cause the fear of failure include, well, number one, it can be just a natural reaction to new beginnings. Yeah. So as you've said, new beginnings come with the fear of failure. So it could be a natural reaction. The second thing, it could be caused by a past traumatic event. So maybe you went through failure in the past and now you're trying to do this particular thing, and every time you start it, you're just afraid of failing. Yeah, so it could be caused by a past traumatic event. And the third thing would be when your self-perception depends on how others think. Now, the fear of failure can come about if you really consider what other people say as supreme over what you think about yourself. So when you're faced with a new beginning, maybe you want to start a new project or begin a business, you're afraid of doing it because you're like, what if I fail? Yeah, what will people say? What will people think about me? So those are the three causes that I think bring about fear. Now, fear can actually escalate into a phobia, guys. And the phobia of failure is called anti-phobia. Yes, anti-phobia is the phobia of fear of failure. That's funny, I know, right? The fear of failure can actually even escalate and become mental. So now, when it's mental, it can be characterized by certain things. An example would be procrastination. I don't know whether you've met certain people who are really, they really procrastinate stuff, not because they're unable to do it, but because they're afraid of failing. Yeah. So procrastination can actually be a characteristic of the fear of failure. Maybe you're one of those people. I don't know. Two, another characteristic of the fear of failure being mental is actually being extremely worried. There are certain people who get extremely worried when they are given, maybe a task to do, and they're afraid that they're not going to do it well. Yeah, so they become extremely worrisome, and that is a characteristic of the fear of failure. And lastly, it can also become physical. You may get people who have headaches and panic attacks when they have to start something new. That is the fear of failure manifesting. Yeah. So let me tell you a little something. The fear of failure comes about when our subconscious mind is not in sync with our conscious mind. Yeah. When our conscious mind is not synchronized with our subconscious mind. So on one hand, you have your conscious mind, which is ready to start a new business, open an NGO, start a new business, or do a particular project. Yes? So that's your conscious mind. But then your subconscious mind, on the other hand, has or is vested with the fear of failure. So when your conscious mind is ready to move forward and develop in life and achieve stuff and win things, your subconscious mind holds you back because of the fear of failure. Yeah. So now today I want us to learn how to overcome this fear of failure. And we are going to overcome fear of failure through 3 pointers. All right. So the first one is examine the fear. So this is particularly important to people who have this intense fear of failure that actually escalates to maybe a phobia or mental, when it becomes mental. Yeah, so you may choose to examine your fear of failure because it's important to actually know where it actually began. Yeah, so for some people, the fear of failure may have arisen maybe back in primary school. Yeah, maybe you did not do well in a certain mathematics test, and what the teacher said or what your parents said actually made you feel like you will never ever do well in a math related thing again. Yeah, so that could be the root cause of it. So once you have examined what is the root cause, you now try and see how you can solve it. Yeah, ways of solving it would be to face it head on, confront it, tell yourself that, look, this happened years ago, I have to move past this. Yeah, that could be one way of doing it. The other way would be maybe seeking help. Maybe it is so intense and maybe you're not able to handle it on your own. You may choose to seek help from the relevant people. You may decide to see a therapist. You may decide to maybe talk to your pastor. You may decide to talk to your friends or something of the sort. Yeah, and I think the third thing can also be to maybe talk to your parent or talk to someone who is related to that fear. If it is your parent who spoke bad things to you because of maybe that particular mathematics test, you can tell them, look, mom, there's something you said this particular year and I have never forgotten it. Mom, I need you to know that it really had an effect on me. And to date, I can't do a math-related thing because of that. Now, maybe you can actually do that if you think your mom will react appropriately, but maybe if they will not care about it, then maybe it's not the wise thing to do. But yeah, you can choose to talk to people who are actually, or who you associate that fear with it. You may actually heal through that. Yeah, so now that's the way you can face it. Yeah, you can look back, examine that fear, try and focus on it. How can you solve it? Yeah. And now once you have discovered what is the source, what actually causes that fear of failure, you may try the options I have given, or you may consider these other 2 pointers. Now, to the second point, take control. Yes, take control. Now, I'm particularly excited about this point because I have a very practical example to give you guys. So there's something I learned recently. It's called the sphere of choice. The sphere of choice is, let's put it as a circle. So maybe the circle of choice for clarity, yeah? So imagine a circle. So we have drawn a circle. So inside the circle, we're going to put things that we call internal factors. Now, internal factors are things that are within your control. Yeah, things that are within your control. So examples of things that are within your control can be your daily habits. Your daily habits are within your control. Another thing that is within your control is maybe your behavior, how you behave in a particular situation. That is within your control. Your values are within your control. Your character can also be within your control. Now, outside the circle, we're going to put something we call external factors. Now, external factors are things that are beyond our control, things that we cannot control, yeah? And this include the past. The past is definitely out of our control. What happened to you, where you were born, your parents, and what happened a long time ago in primary, those are things that you cannot control now. They happened and you cannot control. Another thing is the future. You cannot control how tomorrow will look. We just hope for a better day tomorrow, but however it turns out, it is not within our control. Yeah, we work hard, we go to school, we do stuff, but we are not assured that things will actually go the way we have planned. Yeah, so we are not in control of the future. Yeah, another thing is the thoughts and reactions or behaviors of others. You're not in control of how your friend thinks about how you look. You're not in control of what your parent will say concerning this new business idea that you have. Yeah, that you're not in control over. And the final thing that you're not in control over is your thoughts. Your thoughts, yes. And an example of your thoughts could be the fear that we're talking about, the fear of failure. As I said before, fear of failure comes about when you have new beginnings. And so you have new beginnings, and then the fear of failure just comes by. It's like a natural response to this new beginning that you have or a new task. So now with this sphere of choice or this circle of choice, how you can take control is by focusing on your internals. Yes, focus on your internals. Do what is within your control. Whatever is not within your control, leave it. Whatever is beyond your control, the past, the future, the thoughts of others, your thoughts, yeah, those ones, leave them alone. So now focus on what is within your control. Now, how can you focus on your internals, as I said before? say for example you want to maybe start a new business, yeah. Maybe you want to start a business of making bags, yeah, for example, making bags. So look at your daily habits. We said daily habits are within our control. Check whether your daily habits are working for you or against you. Do your daily habits actually result in you starting that business eventually or not? Yeah, so examine your daily habits. That's the first thing. The second thing is to maybe check whether it's a hard task. So for example, you may feel like starting this business is really hard because it requires so many things. How do you navigate that? Break it down into doable tasks. So for still pursuing the example of starting a bag business, you may just to say that within 1 week I need to now shop around and see where I can raise capital from. Yeah, and then you say the second week I will now find personnel to work with, and then the third week I will now buy the materials that I need to start this business. In that regard, you will have broken down this very hard task into doable tasks, and ultimately you'll be able to start this business. The third thing is maybe you feel like that you lack the skill or the knowledge. Yeah, maybe you feel like you do not know how to manage your finances, and so you have the fear of failure, because even if you begin this business, it will not be profitable to you because you feel like you will waste your money. So what do? Clearly you lack the skill and the knowledge of managing money. You can decide to educate yourself in that regard. Yeah, you can read articles, you can go to YouTube and learn stuff, you can enroll in an online course. Yeah, you can talk to people, talk to someone who's doing that particular business. You will then acquire the necessary skills and knowledge, and you'll be able to actually overcome that fear of failure and start your business. Yeah, so we've said 3 things. Check your daily habits. Yeah, if it is a hard task, break it down. Yeah, and if you lack the knowledge and skill, learn. Yeah, and if you totally feel like you are, you're really afraid because you feel like this, generally speaking or realistically speaking, is something that you cannot do on your own, ask for help. Ask for help. Maybe you're having challenges with raising the capital. Ask for help. Ask your friends, ask someone who's trustworthy, and maybe even get a loan. Yeah? Yeah, and so that's how you can actually be in control of your internals. Now, why should you assume or, forget the externals? Well, number one, if we look at the thoughts of others and the behaviors of others, we are never in control of how other people think. Yeah? We are never in control of how other people think. It is so hard to please people. It's so hard to please people, and sometimes you please one person, but then other people, like you may please person X, but person Y is not pleased, and so it gets really problematic. So don't focus on people. This is your journey, run it alone. Yeah, and you'll never get approval from everyone. You'll never get approval from everyone, so don't even try it. So well, I'm not saying that you should assume the good advice that comes your way, but what I'm trying to say is don't be so reliant on how other people think or their perspective about you. Let what you think about yourself rule. Let what you think or how you perceive, this particular project, you see it as a big success. Someone else doesn't. Yeah. So focus on that. And another reason why you should not focus on externals is also when we look at your own thoughts, is because fear is subconscious. So when you focus on those thoughts of fear, you cannot control it. Yeah, like it just comes by. You can't control it. So why should you focus on what you can't control? It's a waste of time. Yeah, and now finally the third thing is to face your fear. Yes, face your fear. We should allow ourselves to fail. And I think it's so important to be comfortable with failure, because the moment you tell yourself that, look, if I fail, it's not the end of the world, then you'll be able to try out even the most unbelievable of things. Yeah. Now, let's take a minute and imagine a world where everyone accepted to be overcome by their fear of failure. We would not have phones, we would not have vehicles, we would not have all these beautiful things that we see, because people will have allowed themselves to be overcome, or rather to be overcome by the fear of failure. So failure Failure is just an interesting thing, yeah. And how to face this fear? You can believe, or rather, you can choose to believe that you will survive that task or assignment. Yeah, convince yourself. Convince yourself. Tell yourself, look, I will finish this project. I will do well. I'm going to try it, and if I fail, I will have gained experience. And the good thing about failing is that the next time you try it, you'll begin from a point of experience. Yeah. So let's allow ourselves to try. Now, guys, failure does not make you give up. Failure doesn't make you give up. It actually happens when you give up. So don't give up. Don't give up on trying that particular thing. When you fail to try it, you will have failed. Yeah, when you fail to try it, you will have failed. Now, in case you fail, it's not the end of the world. Tell yourself that. In case you fail, do not look at how others look at it. Yeah? Do not think about what other people think. Just look at it, like, on the failure, and run your race. This is your journey, and it's very, very personal. So don't look at what other people think. Don't imagine what they may be thinking, but just own it and focus on yourself. Guys, success cannot exist without failure. We know success because we know failure. Yeah? And so we should actually learn how to take action despite the fear. We need to learn how to take action despite the fear. Now, I came across a certain quote that success is not measured by our ability to avoid fear. Success is actually measured by our ability to show up countless times despite the fear. Yeah, despite the fear. So, the fear of failure brings about negative impacts in our lives. An example is it hinders you from achieving your best self, or experiencing life as you ought to. Yeah. Number two, the fear of failure wastes our time. We end up procrastinating stuff. We end up being very scared. We don't do what we need to do. We waste time, and we generally waste our lives. And the third thing, the fear of failure can actually lower your self-esteem. It is therefore very important that you face this fear and confront it using the examples using the pointers that I've given you. Yeah. So remember, guys, that the fear of failure is not innate. We are not born with the fear of failure. We actually acquire it at some point when we are growing up. And so, being the fact that it is not innate, you can actually alter it or do away with it. So I hope this video was very helpful. I hope we can now overcome this fear of failure. I hope we can be, comfortable with failing and try out those things that we want to try. Start that business, start that, open that NGO, take that project, take that new job, go into that new town. Do not be afraid. You will make it. Convince yourself that you'll do well. All right? So much love from this side. I will see you soon. Bye.